Hi guys, it's Vizri, and I'm here with another video that is very similar to the last video. I've been having a lot of microphone issues. So many microphone issues that I actually recorded this entire video under my comforter because my microphone cord was broken, and it's the only way to get half-decent audio, so please forgive the slightly crummy audio. I am having a heat stroke. Anyway, in the past I've made some statements regarding my opinions on Boruto, and I think I've actually corrected some of this in the comments of some of my videos. And while I'm still pretty iffy on the anime, I actually really enjoy the manga. I kind of changed a lot of my opinions about Boruto, so part of the reason I'm making this video is just kind of to clear some of that up, and also just to get another video out because it's been a while. So yeah, these are just my favorite Boruto characters, and let's get into it. So starting off, we have one of my favorite Boruto characters, and that is Kawaki. I really like Kawaki. I liked him from basically the moment he was introduced, because if you remember my last video, I said I'm a fan of the edgy voice, and that's definitely Kawaki. But as the series went on, I liked him for a lot of reasons, actually. I really like his dynamic with a lot of characters. I like the dynamic he formed with Naruto, and probably one of my favorite moments from the Boruto manga has been the scene in the flower shop, where Naruto just like comforted Kawaki, and I felt like that was such an emotional scene, dude, and I really liked it. Yeah, so not just that, but I really like his dynamic with Boruto too. I feel like Kawaki has really interesting motives compared to I guess I just find it really interesting that he's like he's not really like I know a lot of people claim that he's like the Sasuke of the series, which I kind of see, but I feel like his motives are very, very unique, which is cool because Naruto has so many characters that it's always good to stand out. And yeah, I like that about him. I like his dynamic with other characters. I feel like just from his backstory and stuff, I can kind of sympathize with him a lot, even currently, and I know a lot of the fandom has kind of turned on my boy Kawaki, leaving me as the self-proclaimed president of the Kawaki apologists. But I still see like where he's coming from and everything, you know, and I feel like that makes me a lot more connected to his character, and I really like Kawaki. I like my boy. He needs a break, although I guess he got one recently, but you know, no spoilers. Just kidding, lots of spoilers. So this next section is on Mitsuki, and I really like Mitsuki. He's a silly lad. He's one of the only characters who I actually feel like is, if anything, better in the anime, and I'm still very mixed on the anime, but I kind of like the extra scenes that they added for Mitsuki, especially just during downtime, because I love seeing his kind of awkward but wholesome interactions with his friends and with Boruto. I think that's really silly. He's a fun character because I feel like he has a lot of like, you know, wholesomeness and a lot of like comedy potential too, especially in those downtime scenes when he just like doesn't really know how to interact with people. But he's also pretty interesting in his own right. I like the thing he has with Boruto. It's almost like a Jugo Sasuke situation going on, and I feel like that's kind of interesting to be like especially about like the main character. Obviously, I think it's going to be even more interesting with all of the drama that is going to be created given the recent events in the Boruto manga, but yeah, I like Mitsuki. Next, I have a pair. This is going to be the longest section because it's kind of two characters in one, but I didn't feel like I felt like it was weird to split them up. So next is Eida and Daemon. And I love these two. I was like cautiously optimistic about them when they were first introduced, but pretty immediately they became some of my favorite Boruto characters. I mean, I feel like genuinely, if I had to pick one favorite, it would probably be a tie between these two and Kawaki, as much as I love everybody else in this video. Eida and Daemon are just very, very fun characters, and I know that their powers make them kind of OP, but it honestly didn't really bother me too much, because their role in the story, their role in the story is kind of just benefited from that instead of being like annoying necessarily, at least to me. I feel like they're both really fun characters, especially Daemon. I feel like he's just super fun. He's like just the absolute chaos of this child, and then like nobody can even do anything about it. Dude, both of them have the funniest interactions with Code too. I like them in Code, even if they they have had falling out recently. But yeah, and I kind of like their dynamic with each other too. I like that they're kind of like they've got their whole dynamic of like having each other's backs, especially like Daemon always wanting to like protect Eida, and I think that's kind of sweet. I like Eida's whole vibe, and I like that she's more like kind of a neutral character in terms of like not really on anybody's side, and I think that makes a lot of sense with her power and definitely makes it way more interesting to have her be this kind of like observer neutral role, and then Daemon just being a silly lad who just wants to protect his sister. I think these two are great. I also like Eida's probably is my favorite character design in Boruto too. Something about her color palette is just very fun. Which is why I drew more of her than of anybody else, not just so that I can include them in the same drawing, but also because I love that like blue color that her shorts have on them, and I was like, I need to draw the shorts. I need to include that pretty blue color of an art student. What do you want from me? I'm getting so rambly about like completely unrelated things. I'm supposed to be talking about why I like these two. This entire video was unscripted, and you can tell. Yeah, I feel like I liked them when they were working with Code very tensely, and then I ended up liking them more when they kind of dipped and like joined Konoha. I thought that whole thing was super interesting. And I feel like I should be annoyed by Eida's like crush on Kawaki, but it's honestly kind of fun. which is weird because it's the kind of thing that on paper I feel like should annoy me, but honestly it kind of doesn't. And you know what? I'm not even entirely sure why that is. Anyway, moving on to the next section, we have Code, and I love Code. I feel like I just like I was undecided on him at first, right? When he was introduced as a villain, I was iffy. But man, as he's continued to do things in the Boruto manga, he's so different than every other villain. He's oh my god. He's so interesting, right? I love his motives. I love his dynamics with other characters. I love his like kind of resentment of Kawaki while being kind of indifferent towards everybody else. But most of all, I love how like hilariously he fails at everything. like he literally has this moment with Jigen where Jigen is like, he's like, hey Code, if I mentioned that you're my favorite member of Kara, and obviously Kara's all like killed each other and defected at this point, so Code's like, I'm the only member of Kara. it's this poor awkward teenager who had to kidnap a man so that someone would hang out with him. Right, so canonically, okay, I know, I get it, Code's intimidating, but there's that manga frame where he's like yawning like a puppy. I cannot get past him. Code, it's fantastic. Aside from all of that though, I do genuinely like Code as a character. I do think it's interesting, his like entire motivation. Also, like I was saying earlier with Kawaki, it's pretty different. Like I like that his whole thing is basically like doing everything on behalf of what he thinks Ishiki would want him to do. It's an interesting situation. And next up is Amado. Now, Amado is one of those characters where like there are scenes when I absolutely hate him, but in like the best possible way. He's the kind of like morally gray character that I actually really like. I like that Amado he's so blatantly in just fully in it for what he wants, which, in the end is a fairly reasonable goal. He's not like a villainous dude, because he does just kind of want like his daughter to be alive, which is fair. But he's so openly only interested in his own goals, and I love that he's just like, he goes wherever he feels like will be best for him. Like, he kind of has no loyalty to anybody, which I really appreciate. That sounds weird. I just like that kind of morally gray character, like someone like Amado, who, like he knows what he's about, and you know what? I can appreciate that. I can appreciate, I can appreciate that. And I feel like anytime he's like quote-unquote allied with anybody, it's always really interesting because he's also such like a, you know, smart dude that you always kind of like think that he's maybe planning something, which I also appreciate. I think it's a fun dynamic of like, Amado's here, he's hanging out with us, but is he really, or is he planning on secretly giving Kawaki a karma again? I don't know. Next on the list is the man himself, Boruto, title character. Now, I was very iffy on Boruto at first. I think a lot of people were, but honestly, I really like him as a protagonist now. And I have for a while. I think that Boruto's a very interesting protagonist for his series. I feel like he fits it really well. I think he's very good in the protagonist role. They've been doing really interesting things with this character, especially recently, because, you know, chapters 79 and 80 just were absolutely nuts. But even before that, I kind of liked Boruto's thing. I think that he's a very, very different character from Naruto, a very different kind of protagonist, and I honestly, I think it really fits for his series. I feel like he bounces off pretty well with the characters around him. I like that a lot of his motives are kind of less, I guess, obvious, I should say. I don't really know how like how to phrase that, but a lot of like the things that he thinks, it's all very like, it all very much makes sense for the world that he's currently living in versus like the past Naruto world. And even though there is like kind of a disconnect then between like him and some of the audience, I feel like recently it's been working out pretty well. I feel like once we, you know, got past the kind of initial few arcs, I think that Boruto really kind of came into his own as a protagonist, and I like that. So with that, that's the end of the list. I know this was like super rambly and it was probably a total disaster, but I just wanted to get some video out because it's been a while, and even though I'm continuing to have ongoing microphone issues, I'm gonna, you know, try my best to actually record some more videos. If anybody is still watching this video after my several month random hiatus, thank you, I appreciate it. Please consider subscribing. I hear it awakens the Sharingan, but you can't sue me if you don't get one. Okay, bye.